I'm Meridian Baldacci. I'm Director of Strategy at Family Policy Alliance, and we are here in Charleston, South Carolina at the inaugural SoConCon, or Social Conservative Conference, and I am with Joseph Backholm, who's with Family Research Council. Super excited that you're here, Joseph. I wanted to talk with you about something you're going to be talking about later in this conference, which is the idea that, and I'm going to put this in quotes because it's your term, we are in a religious war. What do you mean by that?
You know, the policy debates that we're having, we often define in terms of like donkeys and elephants and red and blue, but really it's a conflict of worldviews that in really significant ways are just different religions competing. We know that Christians have holidays, but the left has holidays too. You know, we call it Christmas, they call it Pride Month. You know, exactly. You know, they celebrate things. We have icons. They have icons. They have flags. We have flags and symbols, right? And when you start to just look around the culture, what you realize is that leftism and secularism fills the exact same purpose in people's life. It gives them meaning. It gives them a reason to wake up in the morning. It gives them a story about what's wrong with the world. It gives them a narrative for how to solve those problems, right? So these wars that we define and think of in political terms are really just competing worldviews, and it's important for us to understand that because we engage differently when we realize these are just religious wars.
Okay, so what are some of these religions, other worldviews that you're seeing popping up?
Well, primarily now it's secular humanism is a very generic way to describe it, but it's accurate. It's this idea that our existence is accidental. It has a natural origin, and the problem in the world is not sin. The problem in the world is injustice, and you solve that problem not through redemption through Jesus, right? But you solve that through revolution that happens politically. And our hope is not in a restored heaven and earth that God will create when he crushes sin finally. Our hope is in the utopia we will create on this earth once we seize enough political power to fix all the systemic problems that we are sure are at the root of our, the problems in the world. So very different understanding of what the problem is, so they have a very different understanding of how to solve it.
And I would add to that, we do penance by canceling people and then, forcing them to yes, yeah. Exactly.
That's a form of excommunication. That's exactly right. If you violate the church's teachings, we will kick you out of the church. That's what we refer to as cancel culture. It's just a different church.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you, my generation, I would say this whole LGBT ideology is definitely a part of this, right? It's a part of one of these ideologies. How does someone like me talk to a friend who's coming at the world from this perspective, who says, this is my worldview, this is my religion? How do we even start to break through that barrier?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, how do you start? I'd like to go back to the beginning, because what defines what a worldview is your assumptions about origin, meaning, morality, and destiny. Where did I come from? Does your life have meaning, and why? Who determines what is right and wrong? Once you answer those questions, then your beliefs about gender and marriage and sexuality, they start to make sense. Some people haven't done the work of connecting the things that they say believe about policy to their fundamental assumptions, right? But some people have, and it's the reason I think boys can become girls is because I believe my life is an accident. There's no authority above me. I determine truth for myself. My feelings determine what is true. Therefore, if I feel like I'm female, then I am, and there's no other standard that I could appeal to that would tell me I'm wrong, right? So that's actually a logical conclusion based on a naturalist set of assumptions. But if they're wrong, if they were actually created for a purpose by somebody who knows what's best for them, then it's actually a big mistake to follow your heart, follow your feelings, because the one who created you and knows what's best for you has told you that's not the path to flourishing.
How do we take this? We're here at a public policy conference. So how do we take this kind of message and perspective and apply it to public policy? Where's the interconnection there?
Well, for those who are engaged in public policy, I think this matters a lot because, one, it changes the way you see the people that you're engaging with, right? When you understand that they're just adherents to a different religion, that they have a different worldview defined by their different assumptions, now it's not that they're crazy and they're not evil, they're just starting from a very different place. So I'm going to engage with them differently, but also understanding that this is fundamentally a spiritual war. it elevates the conversation above this particular bill or this particular election, so I'm not being distracted by those things, right? Even if this election doesn't go the way I want it to, even if this bill doesn't go the way I want it to, I'm engaged forever because I understand that this is ultimately a Genesis 3 battle between good and evil. Did God really say? So it transcends politics, so we can engage joyfully, but we can also engage, enduringly.
I love that encouragement. I'm going to end us there. Thanks so much, Joseph, for talking with us, and we'll get you more coverage from the SoConCon.